camera. What to do? Close enough. All right. Hey, doing yet another live stream. A little late, but we'll make it work, kind of, in our own haphazard way. Welcome to the channel. If you've never seen it before, the few people that'll watch the live stream, love it, love you. So, let me get some water from that exhausting bass intro. What's going on? We will get to X-Men 97 as it's usually the topper, the intro, the top layer of these live streams. But I want to talk about what I've been reading lately. 90s Spider-Man, and then I went back to the 60s, the original ones, which I used to have some of the omnibus, but they've got them all on readcomicsfree.org. You gotta check it out, man. It's priceless comics for free. Really enjoying reading the old 60s ones and getting familiar with Steve Ditko's artwork and of course Stan Lee's wonderful writing, but this is not that. This is just a really scary old Todd McFarlane 90s comic right there. That is Morbius. I'm gonna get out of his way. That is Morbius. As soon as I saw that, having most of my experience with Morbius being the cartoon from the 90s, and then the movie, which was fun. Terrible, but fun. That's Morbius to me right there. That face. We'll check that out. But really wonderful and chaotic. The structured chaos of Todd McFarlane. Absolutely adore it. I don't know. Todd McFarlane story, pencils, inks. Here's his Juggernaut right there. So we're still getting in the 90s one. This is not McFarlane, and you can tell. Just you can kind of tell immediately it's a little bit more glossy, but that's the kind of stuff that I was more accustomed to seeing when I was a little kid. The very few comics that I had that I picked up. So that look of Spider-Man's very nostalgic for me. It's this issue's from 91. We keep going. This is not from 91. This is like 61. So we'll get to talking about that. The original comics are written by Stan Lee, drawn by Steve Ditko. Did I say Steve Lee? Stan Lee. Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. They are special for so many reasons. If you read them and you're expecting just, Avengers movie level action every second, I fear you'll be disappointed. But if you go in there with just a pure love of Spider-Man, it just delivers every single issue. There's this first one. That's it. I can't sum it up any better than that, dude. This great pose of him hanging, being called a freak and a public menace, and Jameson yelling in his face. Just my favorite combination of superheroes, because of course he is Batman and Superman put together. He's drawn so wonderfully, and it's written in this, it's early 60s, right? So, it's wholesome. It's very, very wholesome and sweet, but it's not like 1955 wholesome. Like it's a little bit edgier than what you would get from like a 40s, 50 thing. So I love baseball cards, and I love the kind of goofy kind of gags, or just the type of language and slang and lingo that they have on the backs of baseball cards from like, 40s, 50s, even and up in the 60s. And then I love Topps Heritage Series nowadays, but that's the kind of quick, punchy. We only have so much space on the paper, the cardboard to fill in and have this kind of be informative, infotainment. I hate that word, but it has to be informative, but it has to be punchy, and it has to be a little bit funny for kids. So to maintain some element of entertainment, because otherwise it's like a flashcard, and otherwise this would be a novel, which it's not. But we go into this issue 9. I'm up to like, I think 16 or 17. I'm up to probably issue 16. I used to have like the first 40 or whatever, and I think I read all of them. I'm not even sure I did. I gave up almost all of my comics a little while ago, and then I got a few back. But with things like freecomics.org, readfreecomics.org, I'm not sure it's worth investing a tremendous amount of money or anxiety or space in your home or apartment to collecting comics. But if you wanna, and you've got like a shed or a garage, and you've got this undying love and interest for the artwork and the stories we're going to do, have at it, man. But if you just want to read it, and you're not into trading them for value or anything, or like having an investment, or having your investment grow or whatever, you just want to read these stories and they're hard to find, you can do no better. I remember someone at a comic book shop in Orange telling the owner telling me like, oh, the omnibus is the best way to read it, and in saying that, he got me to buy one, so it was a good sales pitch. But the best way to read them is this, because you can zoom in on the panels. It's fantastic. Oh man, that's not the original appearance of Doc Ock, but it's a wonderful cover. There's so much the vibrant action and instant drama in the way Steve Ditko draws them, and they're beautifully colored, and I love Stan Lee's writing. So his writing does remind me of Topps baseball cards from the 60s and 70s, but he's got a very witty, silly, heartwarming, fun, interesting way of writing these stories. And uh, any long format story like this, which is not intended to end, it's supposed to keep going as long as it's profitable and as long as it's interesting to the kids and the market. It's going to descend into soap opera tropes, which I think it's weird. When you're a little kid, you love these cartoons, or you love these types of stories, which are in fact very soap opera-y, but you would never watch a soap opera when you're like 7 or 8. And then as you get older and older, I kind of put them away, or you put aside silly stories like that, and you want to watch like more serious drama or actual films, which I intend to review more films, actual films on this channel, like Boiling Point, which I reviewed like last year. But I absolutely love Boiling Point. If you haven't seen that movie, you've got to check it out. It's beautifully done. But it's fun to watch silly movies which are not films, which are not to be taken seriously, and you can dissect them, but there might not be anything of substance to cut apart there, and then it's not really fair to compare to, like, let's say Suicide Squad, which is just a personal favorite of mine, not a guilty pleasure, just a favorite. Uh, it doesn't seem fair to dissect Suicide Squad and compare it to, like, Schindler's List or Amadeus or whatever, because it wasn't really intended to be that. So we get, this is so beautiful. This cover, the issue's not bad. The introduction of the Green Goblin, it's not bad. It's very, very silly, and not at all as serious and dark and violent as the Green Goblin would become. But it's a great, great intro to the character, I think. A very fun issue. The cover, I forget where I saw it first. I think it was like in a catalog where they were just showing a lot of Spider-Man covers, and I remember thinking like, oh, someday, like when I'm rich, I'll go and find like the original Spider-Man. If if you found this actual issue right now, it would probably be so faded, even in really good condition. I don't think you would want to read it because it would degrade the actual newsprint. And then if you found it in semi mint or whatever condition, it would still be so faded as to not give you this kind of just vibrancy. I don't know what to call it, man. The colors are so psychedelic, they pop. They're so fantastic. This one's a favorite of mine too. I forget which issue or which. This issue was mentioned in some movie or some show, and it was like that was his Holy Grail comic. You could do so much worse for having a Holy Grail comic than Craven's first appearance. It's a very good issue. I love the early issues, and I just read. If you saw the other live stream, you know I've been reading the McFarlane, the '90s ones, and then actually the last 2 weeks I've been getting into Deadpool, which is kind of the exact opposite of this style. It's so gritty and so violent and vulgar, but it's actually Deadpool in the comics is not nearly as vulgar so far from what I've seen. It's not nearly as vulgar as the movie, but I absolutely love those movies. I'm so excited for Deadpool 3 because that new trailer. We had a little bit of a reaction to it on this channel already, but my goodness, I'm so excited, dude. It looked like Ant-Man or Giant Man's head is being used as a ship. It's like a post-apocalyptic future. There's some bald lady with apparently Magneto powers. She was beating on Wolverine, and oh goodness gracious, it looks so cool. For some reason, I'm really hoping to see the old like brown and yellow or whatever costume from Wolverine, his original brown one. That's so cool. Um, or his original one was yellow, and they kind of changed it up, and then I think they went to the brown and gold one, and then went back to the yellow one. I love his costumes; they're cool. I hope they have everything in there. I hope Henry Cavill's in the new movie. I hope they do all kinds of crazy stuff that they could only do in a weird multiverse type of story. His annual, Spider-Man's annual, the introduction of the Sinister Six, kind of a funny issue, long issue. Excuse me. You would think all of them would just get him, but that's not what happened. So I don't no spoilers on this channel, but yeah, it's a very interesting strategy of attack. I'll leave it at that. This is the one I'm on right now. I have read it before. I absolutely love Daredevil. I've got to watch that Netflix show, and we'll watch it. We'll review it on this channel. But yeah, I didn't hate the movie, but it's kind of not worth watching unless you're really into Daredevil, which I'm into Daredevil because his name is Matt and my name is Matt. But now, other than that, he's one of the best Marvel characters of all time. He's fantastic. He's human. He's raw. He's intelligent. He's got serious limitations, but he overcomes them, which I think there's something very inspiring about that. I on this tablet I've got open on another tab of he Born Again, written by Frank Miller and I think Matsuchi. I don't want to mess up his name there, but I think I've read all of that before. But it's fun to reread comics. It might be more fun to reread comics than novels, but we'll get into novels later. On side note, it's not actual like hoity-toity serious literature, but been listening to Harry Potter, the first one on audiobook just with my family. Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I love J.K. Rowling so much. She is an absolute treasure. Those books are total gifts, man. And if you can get a good version of it read on the audiobook, I just put it on YouTube. It's so much fun, and it adds a little bit more than the movies. I'm very obsessed with the movies. I started getting into the books when they came out because it came out when I was a kid, and I'm so grateful to have been a kid at the time that Harry Potter was coming out. But I was probably like 10 or 11. I was about Harry's age when the first book came out, so that's a serious blessing to me, I think. But My dad was born in 1961, which I think that's when Spider-Man came out as well, and also the Mets and the Angels. So that's lucky him. This issue's fantastic. These are from the annual. These close-ups. I'm going to show these because just getting an idea of Steve Ditko's action on a huge panel. He really, really shines, man. Let's get a close-up of that. Boom! He's fighting Electro. Is one of the most interesting villains, I think. Here he's fighting Kraven. That's really cool. I'm gonna close up of that. Oh yeah, his face. Kraven's face is so crazy. The original animation. I'm still not excited at all about that movie, and not excited at all about that dude who plays Kraven playing James Bond. But for the millionth time, as we say on this channel a lot, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope it's awesome. But I bloody doubt it. Here's Mysterio. Frank. It says Frank Gyllenhaal? No. Jake Gyllenhaal. Frank Gyllenhaal sounds cooler, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to go with that. Jake, the Frank Gyllenhaal, played him in the movie. This is fantastic artwork right here. You got the little eyes. I hope they're eyes. Really interesting villain. One of my favorite villains. I'm sure one of everyone's favorite villains. It's the last one slideshow for that. I love the 60s Spider-Man. I love Stan Lee's writing style. I was looking up last night just for curiosity. I didn't know it would play into our live stream today, but Stan wrote like, gosh, over 100, something like that. He got well into the run of Spider-Man, probably 10 years because they did one a month, so let's say around 120-ish. I guess I should have done more research, but that's not how we operate on this channel. And then other guys took over. I know the artwork was later done by John Romita, and then a couple of other dudes. And by like issue 298, that's when Todd McFarlane takes over. I absolutely love his style. He only did like 28 issues, I think. So that's not going to take terribly long. You can get through that. Well, if you want to push it, you could do it in an afternoon, but probably get through those in a week and then start reviewing those on the next live stream. Whenever we do another one of these. Absolutely love the old artwork for Spider-Man. And as it gets rawer and more gritty, more raw, more gritty, and a little more chaotic and a little darker and a little more violent in the 90s, I actually love it even more. So we got that going, which is nice. The other thing I've been really interested in lately is going to Disneyland with my family. We got our passes back. We've been taking our 5-month-old, soon to be 6-month-old. Man, you get very busy when a baby's born, and then the guesswork is kind of taken out of life because you have a sense of urgency, at least with us, and I'm sure with everyone. So the cliche is that, oh, they grow up so fast, but I'm sure she's growing up at the exact chronological rate of every other baby who's ever been born, but you get very busy and you have no more guesswork because there's always something that kind of urgently needs to be done. And then weeks go by, and then she's 6 months old now, so she'll never be a newborn again, which is a little bit sad. But we've been going to Disneyland, which is not sad. It's been really, really fun. It's good exercise. You do an average of like, I think we've been averaging at least 3 miles or so when we're walking around there. Hopefully we'll build that up and get a little bit more as our stamina increases. So what have I been seeing at Disneyland? Oh, sneaker-wise. Everyone knows about the rides, so I just want to talk about sneakers. I've been seeing a lot of Nikes, but not great Nikes, not like weird limited edition ones or the really popular ones that have come out that I see on Sneaker News. I see like dad shoes, but not Air Monarch, so it's basically just their second or third lower tier running shoes, which I'm sure work pretty well for, you know, the 3 miles plus that you're going to be walking around D-Land. I see that a lot. I'm not interested. I'm not a Nike guy, but occasionally I'll see Jordans, occasionally I'll see Dunk Lows, which as someone who hates Nike, and I do hate Nike, the SB Dunk Low is perfect. It's a perfect shoe. There's nothing wrong with it. I can't find a flaw in it. It's very cool, and I see it a lot, mostly on younger people, because I'm sure there's absolutely no cushion and no serious, considerable arch support in there. I've also been seeing a lot of New Balances. I saw this either siblings or couple. They had like 2002 R's in like off white with fuzzy suede, which I hate fuzzy suede. I call it rat ass suede, but it looked nice the way it was done with like the kind of cream Nike. We call it coconut milk, but off white suede. It looked pretty good. So younger people wear the fancier New Balances. I've noticed. I've seen a few dads rocking the 990 series, which I respect that move. I haven't worn my New Balances to Disneyland yet because I don't think they're good enough for that kind of walking. I have a bone to pick with New Balance. I think they're flimsy, and they would tell you, "Oh, we have to keep it lightweight because it's a running shoe, and we make running shoes." And I'm like, "Yeah, but nobody's doing serious running in a 574, man. That's my favorite New Balance is the 574, and I've only seen them on old people at D-Land, so hopefully they're comfortable enough for that. I think they get a little bit too hot, and then they get even softer, so you're just walking around in a hot, sweaty slipper, which is the last thing I want to be wearing at D-Land. I've seen a lot of Converse. We've talked about Converse on this channel. I see a lot of kids walking around in Converse. I'd say mostly Chuck 70s, but some of the plain ones as well, which I want to do it. I want to go to D-Land and wear Converse, but I'm scared because they're so just flat on the ground basically, and there's not really a lot of cush or squish and comfort there. What I've been seeing, I think the most of, probably tied with the Nikes and maybe a little bit more, these bad boys. Not slip-ons, but these are Vans. So Disneyland is in Anaheim. Vans is from Anaheim. Vanaheim is something from Thor's world. Anyway, I'm worn Vans like once in Disneyland. I wore my A6 the other two times, full confession. So these are my slip-ons. I think they're the 98 whatever version, like the, well, not 1998, but they're like the factory ones. Don't get the factory Vans. I'm wearing the factory Vans slip-ons right now. They're not better than the basic ones, and for some reason the insoles, the really squishy insoles on the slip-ons didn't really work for me because they made them too tight, but I love the Vans insoles so much, which is what I wanted to talk about a little bit in detail. So we've got old schools. Ooh, I think hands down, these are the shoes that I see the most at D-Land, usually in like white or black and white, but absolute classics. I love these shoes. They've got that pop cush insert there. So they're for skating, but they're really good for walking too, man. They're grippy. And I haven't really tripped or slipped or rolled my ankle at D-Land at all, ever, but sometimes you're going up and down. Sometimes there's, various heights or whatever to the surface you're on, and maybe you're on an uneven surface. It's not Rick and Morty. It's not true level. So I think you'd want something with some grip and then something with some cushion. And it's soft canvas, so it's somewhat breathable, but I mean, your feet are gonna sweat. Let's just be there. Your feet are gonna sweat. They're gonna cook a little bit. It's gonna happen. Sometimes I think the thin socks are the best for that situation. We got slip-ons. I put Dr. Scholl's in these so that they would fit me better because the pop cush was just making your foot ride so high, and I don't want my foot to ride really high in the shoe. Then I feel like I'm going to roll my ankle. So these sit a little bit better. I don't know if you can see, they got checkerboard on the inside. Got this suede, which is turning into rat-ass suede on the back, but they're wrapped up. Got this really high foxing. It's pretty high quality. It's like I'm going to say fake suede, but it's pigskin, whatever, instead of the standard canvas, and they got a little bit of canvas there. Love those. Haven't worn them hardly at all. Maybe I should wear them with the thin socks. What we got? Okay. Lizzie's. My wife surprised me with a pair of Lizzie's like 2 Christmases ago, and I initially just wanted the Gilbert Crockett like off-white highs, but those look exactly like Converse, which I already have a lot of those anyway, so I basically wanted the same with a boring shoe, and she got me, I'm going to say, the exact opposite of a boring shoe. I really like these shoes, man. They're skate highs, but they're modified, and It's a signature shoe from a girl. So I think it would be very easy and very cynical to say, well, they're girls' shoes. Like, well, I don't know. Let's think about that now. It's got a really interesting kind of like leaf print, nature topographical map pattern there, which that kind of, I don't know, man, kind of looks like a hiking shoe to me. Something you could do some concrete hiking in, maybe. And then, as someone who has, like, we'll see, we have probably 8 pairs of skate highs. I love the sidewall on these. It's a different pattern. We can't really get the detail on it there, but it's a totally new take on a skate high. And then the top is really thin, like a Converse. So it's got like everything that I love about Vans done just a little bit differently. So I don't know any other shoe that Vans makes that gives you what the Lizzie does. There's a little bottom there. I know the skate high is very, very similar, and the Crockett is similar, but that's a very unique shoe. That's not something just to throw away or sneeze at. The other day, I've had those for like 2 Christmases. We got a buy one get one. We got my daughter her first pair of like actual solid Vans, and maybe I should show those off too. But my wife got me these blue ones, so they're just Lizzie's. Oh, they got the little pull tab. These make it a lot easier to pull the shoe on, by the way. Not wild that they have the girl's name on the back of it, but you can't see it anyway. So, love these. Could put red laces on them, make them my Captain America shoes. That'd be all right. 1 second. Boom. These are my kids' shoes. They're brand new shoes. Their first pair of actual Vans slip-ons. Hard soles. I would prefer kids' shoes, all of kids' shoes. I don't need them to pass a law or anything, but I think just in general, they shouldn't have laces. My 5-month-old's not going to be able to tie laces, and I don't feel like tying and untying and retying shoelaces every 5 minutes, so hopefully she'll learn quickly when she's like 6. We got these at the swap meet, and I finally got my Gilbert Crockett off-whites, but they're the low top. We got them for probably $30 at the swap meet, and these Lizzies here, by the way, we got the little slip-ons for the kid for like 35 or 40, and then these were half off. So they were 70 on sale, and then we got half off the sale, so these were 35. Dad's shoes were 35. The baby shoes were like 40. That's not so bad. These were at the swap meet for like $35. They've got Gilbert Crockett's name in stitching, in white stitching on a white tag, so it's almost impossible to see in any lighting. But the tongue is squishy, the upper is suede and canvas, and it looks like a low top skate high or an old school, but it's got that ultra cush because it is a pro skate shoe, and then it's got that cool grip on the bottom. These were, and it's got a little bit of leather at the top of the back heel there, so that'll probably last a lot longer than like a weird papery canvas. And it's got an interesting little sidewall going, white tag on the back. These are special to me because when we got them at the swap meet, it was very late in my wife's pregnancy, and then when we went to the hospital, these were like the quickest. They just turned out to be the shoes that I grabbed. I had them on hand, and they were easy to put on. And then as we were at the hospital for 4 or 5 days, these became my dad's shoes, which I think Vans make great dad shoes, frankly. And they will continue to make great dad shoes. I see so many dads wearing the old schools at Vans. Wait. The old school Vans at Disneyland. You should just sell them at D-Land. Here's another pair. I got these from our cousin Chano for Christmas a couple years ago. Again, and this is my wife's theory, and I think she's right because my wife is always right. Maybe the green makes the upper shrink, so on my slip-ons they didn't fit, and on these they didn't fit, so on both of them now I have Dr. Scholl's in there, which are a little thinner, so now the shoes fit beautifully. I really, really love the old school, the same one over here, but I don't know. And the Pro, the only difference between the Pros, I think it's a little bit thicker canvas. They might have the sidewall, the foxing a little bit higher, and then they've got that squishy insole, which you can't see, but it's just so comfortable. And then that little, the way you can tell is that little checker tag instead of a normal standard Vans tag. So it's gonna fit? Oh, it's not great. Okay. So my 2 old schools, do I have 3? I think I have 2 old schools. These are my Vans quote-unquote hiking boots. They're just skate highs. They're skate skateboarding skate highs. That's kind of weird to say. They used to be pro skate, but now they're called skate highs, which is kind of weird. Again, there's a little tag on the inside. This is #1 skate shoe, and then they've got the checkered tag on the side. I love gum. I'm a sucker for green and gum. I gotta wear these more, man, but I don't. So they still look new. Still gotta break those in. These are probably the most worn pair of Vans I have right now. I'm not sure, which is weird because I normally wouldn't want to stain or mess up white shoes, but they still look pretty new. Oh, not the tongue. The tongue looks all grubby right there. And then the back heel, you gotta check those out. Worn into baseball games. I did wear them to D-Land a little while ago, like a few days ago, a week ago, 2 weeks ago. So they're gonna look a little bit grubby. Speaking of grubby, the ultimate dad shoe, New Balance be damned. I have a picture of my dad when he was a kid wearing these. These are deck shoes. They're called the Vans Authentic. These are pros, but they're super old, super worn in. I think I usually was wearing them without socks. I'll wear them with socks now, but you lace them up loose and you just slide them on. Here we go. With my filthy foot. This really squishy heel. This is the Pop Cush. It's very squishy. This has been worn a lot, like probably as much or more than any of my other Vans shoes, and it still hasn't degraded at all. It still looks new. It has its like original thickness. It hasn't worn in. And then as it gets to the toe, it gets a little bit thinner, but there's still some squish there. You can really feel the squishy foam under your foot, and it just feels good. It lasts for hours and hours and hours until it gets like, once it gets too hot, it will kind of flatten out a little bit, but still just a fantastic choice. Something that does not have those pro insoles, I'm sad to say, is my Simpsons Vans, my skate highs. Love these shoes. I love that panel is my absolute favorite part of it. But we got the original design for the characters, the old school one, and then we've got the newer version of it. But frankly, the coolest part of the shoe is the checkered part. I don't have checkered skate highs except for these, so should I wear these to Disneyland? Probably not, because the insoles are very flat and it feels like you're stepping on the ground almost barefoot, and then it's got these faux leather, I'm gonna say pleather, plastic leather, like wrapping on the inside, the lining. So that's just gonna bust your heel. It's gonna burn out badly. But these are fun. I've worn these to family events. I played soccer in them. They still look all right. It's not so bad. Yeah, it's not so bad. It's empty box, empty box. These I got on sale, I think around 2 Christmases ago. Got on a big Vans kick and bought probably 6 pairs. They're basic. There is nothing going on in the insole. The pattern on the side is cool, and it is like a yarn stitchy thing. So it feels like as soon as it gets scratched at all, it's just going to go completely to hell. So I haven't worn these at all. I'm very afraid to, but I totally should just start wearing them. But I have blue Lizzies, so why would I? Moving on to perhaps my favorite pair of all of them. I absolutely love the MTE series. The original MTE ones are really well thought out. There is no squishy insole on this one, so that's maybe the only flaw. I'm sure the new ones have that, but got Scotch Guard, a collaboration between Vans and Scotch Guard. This is all suede on the upper and then a leather stripe. I haven't worn these as much as I should, but I love them so much I'm afraid to wear them because then they'll get messed up, which is stupid because Vans are cheap and they're meant to be worn, and it's got this tab to pull on quickly, and it's durable, and you should just wear them out. So I've got the MTE 1. The MTE 2 is okay. I don't like the rest of the MTEs. They got a little bit too busy, but the original design is just fun for me. It's a popping outsole instead of the traditional waffles. So that's about it for this show. That's my Vans collection. That's my Vans haul. I absolutely love Vans. I'll probably wear them for the rest of my life. I might be buried in them. But, oh, love those comics, man. Love those shoes. Love all of you. Have a good one.